Great. So
Okay.
shall we continue exploring the skill sets for
Yeah.
psychosensory?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Good, good. Okay. So one of the things that we use is we use sensory input, so cues of touch, direct touch. And so we can use the top of the shoulders down to the elbow. We can
hmm
use our palms and we can use our face. We can do little touches like that on our face.
hmm
So would you like to explore that with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So it's called Havening Touch,
hmm
and it's all biology informed. So
hmm
we know that, for instance, when we do arm havening touch, we want quite a slow, nice, firm contact. And I mean, you've got really lovely upright and you're very open across your chest. That's really kind of perfect. But that's kind of how we want to be when we're doing this.
hmm
And just kind of relaxed.
Shall I
And
try it?
yeah, let's do it together. Um, so when we're doing this arm havening touch, it's just a nice kind of speed. And it's a certain slow speed that activates some fibers in our arms called C tactile fibers. And they're really special and they only respond to a lovely, slow, pleasing touch. And they send a signal to the brain. So it's super fast, if you can imagine, because it's electrical. And that signal is received by the brain. And because of our experiences in the womb, where the womb moves in the same way on the body with the C tactile fibers, then we've had learning experiences that this is sort of safety. And then, of course, the experience of being born and held as we were as babies.
Mhm.
So it's a learning experience, it's like your experience of roses, if you like. And it's one of the fastest ways, certainly the fastest way I've ever come across that we can signal safe to ourselves
Mhm.
because our brain and body understands it. So we may not notice it. When I'm doing this just now, I notice my shirt. It's quite a rough shirt, this. So I
Mhm.
notice my shirt and that's it. I don't notice my receptors at all. But I know because I've seen it on computers and I've seen, what happens when we use an EEG and we look at these things and I've seen how fast it is. I've seen how someone can touch their cheek and
Mhm.
immediately the brain waves change.
Mhm.
So even though I can't feel it, some
Mhm.
people say they can feel it, but I don't feel it. But I know it helps me generate these wonderful
Mhm.
results when we use kind of different neural sequences, and we're going to look at that. So for our face havening touch, we can just do little soft touches across under our eyes. And I do it in the shape of a smile. And I try to sort of sit up nice and straight when I'm doing it so that I'm sending that lovely signal. When you see somebody doing it, it looks like a kind of pull across, but it's really kind of a moving across with the fingers. And then palm havening, probably slightly different receptors in the hands. But it's interesting with all of these things, I think, because there are cultures across the world that use praying and
Mhm.
mudras and rosary beads and when we make bread or something like that, or stroke a
Mhm.
cat or stroke a beautiful fiber or touch a sculpture or do gardening. All of these things, we were very engaged with our palms. So
Mhm.
we know from scientific work that the palms are more effective than the back of the hands, for instance. So
Yeah.
that's why we use these areas because they have the uh, the the signal to the brain results in the brain making and quite an unusual brainwave for daytime use. The brainwave is called delta wave, and it's so we might be so say we were going in for an interview or something like that. thinking of, the things that you wrote
Mm,
about. So we might be going for an interview and our brainwaves are going very, very fast, and we might
mm,
want to just chill out and be calm. So we can use this for that. And as soon as we start doing it, the brain waves change to the slow brainwave called delta brainwave, which has got this kind of curve like that. And we normally make that brainwave when we're sleeping.
mm,
And that's very interesting because when we're sleeping, that's when we do some reconsolidation of the learning of the day,
mm.
uh, or pre.
So is delta wave the sort of deep sleep
Yeah, that's exactly.
wave? Yeah.
Yeah. So we also know that when people are doing knitting, that they make delta waves,
Ah,
which is really
mm.
interesting. And I've not seen a study on making bread, but I would think it's
I'm
similar.
afraid you've gone silent again.
Oh, what a shame.
That's okay. No, you've come back now.
Come
That's good.
back. Good.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh,
Right.
it's saying to me that the connection's unstable.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe things like bread, and I would think things like gardening, potting on plants and things, handling the compost and putting the
Yeah.
seeds in. I would suspect that you start
Mm.
to make a delta wave then. So
Mm.
let's
Possibly
do,
playing a musical instrument as well, something like
yeah,
that.
I hadn't thought of that
Could be.
actually. Yeah,
Mm. Mm.
yeah. And so we did you think those three were different kinds of havening touch? Were they all okay for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I
So
mean, like you, I tended to just feel the roughness of the shirt rather than
yeah,
anything else. But
yeah,
it's interesting, and I'm intrigued by the mention of sea tactile fibers because there aren't any. You don't have any fibers on your palms of your hand, as far as I know. But I know you have lots of nerve endings there, so
yeah.
maybe that's.
I would think I think with the arms, definitely the sea tactiles will be involved, and the face, of course, as well as has got
Mm,
hair. I
yeah.
think with the palms, it's probably other kinds of receptors, and we can see the readout
Yeah.
from it that we get this high delta
Mm,
wave, and we can look at cultural things
yeah.
like praying and mudras and all these things.
Mm,
Um, but I would imagine the science isn't completely through yet, but I would imagine
mm,
it's, as you say, there's loads of nerve endings, aren't there?
mm,
It's
mm,
like, I don't know if you've ever seen that thing where you can look at the nerve endings on your leg, so you can do it with a
mm,
couple of cocktail sticks. And, if you close your
yeah.
eyes, you can't
Yeah.
actually feel because there's just
Mm,
less nerve endings there.
yeah.
Whereas on your fingers, we can feel so much
Absolutely.
information going to the
Yeah.
brain,
Yeah.
and quickly as well.
Yeah.
Just,
Mm,
we from cue to response is milliseconds,
mm,
faster than a blink.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Indeed.
obviously, we're not bringing that to awareness. Just like when we're doing this, we don't sort of go, "Oh, I can feel my receptors,"
Mm,
But it's great to know how it works and to have
mm,
that information. As I say, biology informed living, really.
mm,
So, and we can make this quite subtle too. So, if you were at a meeting or something like, you could just be, your hands could be on your book or on your lap, but just put your attention on them and,
mm,
rub your fingers together or something, or hold a
mm.
pen, or you can even imagine, you can actually imagine, just like we imagined when we thought about remembering and imagining are actually neurologically kind of the same.
Yeah.
We kind of experience them differently,
Mm,
but in terms of receptor activity, they are the same. So
mm,
if you were in a meeting and wanting just to be calm, then you could just imagine doing the
mm,
havening touch. You could
mm,
imagine the face havening. You could
mm,
imagine the arm havening. When I'm
mm,
doing the arm havening, I like to notice which hand reaches my elbow first.
mm,
And that helps me kind of keep my attention on what I'm doing. It
mm.
keeps me because you quite
Yeah.
like it's quite good to kind of maintain it
Mm,
once we're using it with the kind of neural sequences, the te havening
mm.
techniques, then you want to keep using the havening techniques in the havening touch, sorry, in the parts where we use it.
Yeah.
I do that to help myself remember. I go, okay, my left hand won that time, now my right hand got to my elbow point first. So you get good at it. And we're only using the havening touch for a few minutes each time when we use
Mm,
it. So let's experiment a little bit more now and think about the roses again and notice what you notice this time. So it's kind of like questioning and observing again. And you may notice a slight difference because
Mm,
of doing the Havening touch, but you were very relaxed to begin with. So it may be very tiny, but it might not be.
mm,
So
mm,
take a moment, close your eyes to make it easier,
mm-hmm,
and think about those favorite roses again
mm.
and notice what you notice. So you're observing, you're kind of questioning and observing and
Do you want me
measuring.
to be doing the havening touch at the same time?
No, well, you could do, yeah, you could do, yeah, do some Havening touch at the same time. That's a good idea.
Yes, it's as though, I mean, it is pretty much the same, but whereas before it was a very intense um, sort of reliving the experience of having my nose right in the bloom, this time it's as though I'm slightly more aware of the garden around me and, for instance, the birdsong, which we mentioned before,
Mhm.
that sort of plays more of a part of it. So it's like I'm part of a larger environment when I'm doing it rather than just being totally immersed in the rose.
It's fascinating. So
Yeah.
kind of expanded.
Yes, yeah,
Uh, from what you say as well, from what you observed, it sounds like you also got more audio. Last
yeah,
time you talked about being close in and you felt your nose like that. I
yeah.
feel that too when I'm doing something like that.
Mm.
Um, but this time it sounded more like the audio kind of was kind of accessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use the word accessed because I think it's like we're kind of, we're activating the receptors and we're accessing that information related to them, you know. So I use that word for that to define
Mm.
it from when we tell a story about things, which is our kind of usual mode of being. But it's quite a lovely activity, to just take a moment to think of a topic, to self-cue
Mm.
ourselves, to
Mm. Mm.
close our eyes and, do a bit of
Mm.
havening touch. Or you can do the havening touch beforehand.
Yeah.
Send those signals. Quite good when you go to bed or before going into a meeting or something, or before making art or something like that, to just get in the zone, activate all those receptors, get the chemistry changing in your body, pick up the new response, the response that you want, and then, you know, if it's for sleep, go into sleep
Mm.
from there, or go
Mm.
into making your art, or you
Mm.
know, just clearing up the house, or it's different. You can use it in so many different ways. So, did you notice any changes in your breathing or your heart rate or
Um, I was feeling pretty calm anyway because I was very much in that world. Um, so I can't say I did actually notice anything, but then I wasn't really looking for that.
Yeah.
So it
Have
wasn't
a, have
as
a, have a little, it's quite good to pop back in and out, get really used to that. So
yeah.
so one of the skills is being able to kind of measure the changes. We call it tracking. So have another
Mm.
little evening touch and think of the
Mm.
roses. And this
Mm.
time, because you didn't do it for very long last time, and this time
Yeah.
just check out how soft your body feels, your breathing.
Mm.
And again, yeah, that's right. If you close your eyes, it's a bit easier usually. Just notice things like if your hands feel really soft and relaxed, or your feet, how your jaw is, how your balance is. And before, remember, we talked about that somatosensory activity sometimes when we think of the metaphor or where we are in our body, whether we feel open and are centered or looking at ourselves, or where are we? Are we in our belly or our throat or our head or our heart or our feet or somewhere else? Some people pick up a color, or they pick up a sense of sort of lightness, or
Mm.
we use different metaphors. We develop different habits
Mm.
in how we describe our experience. And a
Mm.
lot of our experience is coming from our brain.
Mm. Yeah, it feels very kind of sunny and rosy, if you like, apricot-y.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And yes, I feel the sensation. It's as though it floods right through my whole body, really. It's
Can you
the
see
sun.
the direction of it, or can you feel the direction of it? Does it?
Yes, it's as though I can sense the aroma going right down into my lungs and then spreading right out through my body.
Correct. And when it does that, are you saying that it has like a kind of apricot color?
Yes, a sort of apricotty, peachy. Starts off pink and then it goes apricot.
Sounds lovely. I think I would like some of that. It's great. It's free as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know, can do it anytime.
yeah,
So, do you know what you were saying about it becoming more expansive? Like the visual
yeah,
information got kind of
yeah,
wider, like you felt rather than being
mm,
in the roads, you felt like you were in the
yeah,
wider garden, and then you were
yeah,
picking up the auditory, the bird song as well, which is really great. And then you had the sense, if I'm getting this right, coming through you, flooding through you in a pleasant
yeah,
way, and having the color of the apricot
yeah,
as well. Like we were saying before, you were pretty relaxed and in good form when we started. There was a change though. It did get broader.
yes. And
Yeah.
it's funny. This is almost as though the is it somatosensory the
Yeah.
sensation of the aroma passing through my lungs and spreading out. It's as though that's echoed by the feeling of my borders expanding, and suddenly it embraces the whole garden as well. I
That's
can
really
hear the bird
interesting.
song and so on.
Yeah.
So it's as
This,
though the whole experience is just broadening out, it's spreading like
okay.
it's interesting, yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for, engaging and exploring the tools. It's a really good way to begin. Um, so would you agree that the word amplify suits it quite well? So if
Mm,
I called the
mm,
technique amplify havening, so if you were doing it
yeah.
again, you
Mm,
you could think to yourself, I'll do some amplify havening because it kind of makes things a bit bigger.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we'll call that amplify havening. So you've learned that. So you've now learned havening touch.
Hmm.
You're all good with that, and you've learned you already know. We all already know, don't we, how to we respond to a cue automatically. It's happening all the time. You know a bit now about receptors being made, being absorbed. Um, the there's scientific words for those, but I just think about it them being made and being absorbed. And the top
Mm,
neuroscientists talk about it that way as well. They think about it
mm,
made, absorbed. So they
mm,
don't say the words potentiation and depotentiation because
mm,
it's easier just to say made and absorbed, open or
mm.
closed. And you've done some amplify havening and it's so good. So there are havening techniques which use the havening touch and use neural sequences like we used a neural sequence there, but they're designed to reduce so that the AMPA receptors actually are absorbed again. The brain decides to absorb them, takes that action for us. So that reduces the response that you have. So it's really excellent for unwanted responses. And we
Mm.
all experience unwanted responses because we've all had learnings that um, were to do with sometimes something seemed to be inescapable for us. We may have thought we were going to lose something of value,
Yeah.
and there's so many things like that, aren't there? That everything from obviously the obvious ones like we're designed to make sure we hold on to our life and we hold on to our loved ones and our limb and our health. But there are things that are very important for humans because we're mammals, like being part of a group, any sense of not being a loss of part of the group. So we can also think about that kind of classification of sort of abandonment. So if we think that we've been abandoned, and often we haven't been abandoned, but we might think we've been abandoned. And of course, the brain responds to, I might have lost you. Have you got the signal? No, I've lost you. On the subject of loss.
Oh, there we are. You're back again.
Sorry, we lost our signal.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah.
Not quite sure where we were. So I was
No,
saying our brain,
you were talking about abandonment. You were not necessarily
right?
being abandoned, but you can have the feeling of being abandoned.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody might not turn up
Yeah, I
for
understand
something.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they might not turn up for something,
Mm.
but actually, they're only
Yeah.
you gave them the wrong date or something. But our
Mm.
to our
Yeah.
brain, our
Mm.
brain is very interested in that. So we have two amygdala, and they're particularly interested in those categories of things. So I kind of think of it myself like it's one sort of blinking. We think they're right ones, and they're quite tiny, the size of an almond. Um, so they're very interested in they get activated, the receptors there get activated if we think we're stuck, if we think we're losing something. And so that can be our mind. If we
Mm.
think we're losing our mind or losing face or something. Are you there still?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing about abandoning, which is interesting, is we abandon lots of things. I abandon eating healthily quite frequently. I abandon, goals. I don't meet goals quite as I might want it to. That's life. Things don't quite turn out, our dreams and things. So, but this part of the brain takes that very seriously. So when we have those kind of learning experiences, this is where we make receptors here.
Mm.
And it's very quick. So it's really fast, super fast learning with the very fast brain waves. So at the moment we
Mm.
sort of think, and if those certain things come together like a set where we think, I'm stuck, I'm losing something, then
Mm.
so there'll be many life experiences that we have where we've made those receptors, and the result of it can be that we don't like something.
Mm.
So, sometimes if we're saying, so I used to not like standard lamps.
Mm.
So if I saw a standard lamp, I felt my mood would change, because it would be a cue. So
Mm.
I'd start to make adrenaline and cortisol, and that could show up in lots of different ways depending on the context. I might feel I wanted to leave, or I might get a bit grumpy, or it's really fascinating
Mm.
because that was just one kind of sensory element in an experience I had when I was a kid.
Mm.
Then once I used a havening technique and my brain responded to using that havening technique by
Mm.
absorbing the receptors, now I
Mm.
like standard lamps.
Mm.
So I am not going to get all irritated and grumpy in a way that just like we're not aware of this, it's not
Mm.
something that's an awareness, it's something I worked out later on. But sometimes we can work it out. We can work out, oh, this is where I have this unwanted response. What's around me? What's cueing it? And we
Mm.
can, we can start to understand our behavior that way. So, would you like to experiment and experience that perhaps with some some experience that you had that you can think of that you could explore the process with? The process takes about 5 minutes, and unlike the process you just did, what you'll notice is a reduction in the
Mm.
in the response after using the process.
Mm. So what kind of experience do you want me to think about?
Sometime, like when you were a kid or something and somebody said something horrible to you, or, some bit of road rage, or, just some kind of small thing, or when
Mm.
you learned you didn't like something,
Mm.
and then you can just test it out.
Yeah. Um,
And you don't need to tell me about, just like I didn't know the story of the rose. You didn't
mm.
tell me what kind of rose it was or where you were thinking about. It's just the same. I don't need to know the story, and um, you know, you you're going to
Mm.
notice what you notice.
Yeah.
You
So
might
that
tell
does
me I've got a
that,
picture or a sound.
so does it have to involve another person, or can it just be an event that, like an accident that happened?
Yeah, it could be like an accident that you saw that was a bit horrible, or it could be a pet died, or
Mm.
an early experience of something like that, or an early experience of seeing somebody being bullied, or
Mm.
reading something shocking in the paper, or
Mm.
anything that fitted those kind of categories where we go, oh, that's I'm stuck and I'm losing something.
Mm. Okay, now I can think of one thing. Yeah.
That's great. That's good. Good. Let's do that.
Okay.